Hello.
Good afternoon, Andy. How are you?
How are you, Craig? How are you doing?
I'm not bad. Thank you for the time.
No problem at all.
Well, first of all, just wanted to ask how things are for you in this crazy time.
I'm actually enjoying it. You get a bit like, you do want to get out, don't you? But in Ireland, we've been, I think it's 6th day now. For us, I found just being, it's not lockdown, but it's basically self-isolation, staying at home, and social distancing and all this stuff. So I'm going out every day to the park, not the playgrounds, but the park, and running around and doing a bit of running, a bit of weights. But that's about it, really.
And is that
going to the shop, picking up a few bits and bobs? That's it. You're in England, yeah, or Scotland?
I'm in Glasgow, mate. Yeah, Scotland. So
Glasgow, yeah. So what's it like up there?
We're not really locked down as such. I think it's only if you have symptoms you have to be self-isolating.
Yeah.
So I've been at work as normal, which is great. It's all right, but it's a little bit stir crazy at times. I think hopefully it passes soon.
Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere soon. I think it's going to be at least another month of it anyway. Some sort of. I think England's going to be a lot worse. I think at least we've taken some steps, but I don't know. You guys have let it go. I don't know. It might be a lot harder to control. We got in there early and just, I don't know.
I know.
We've had there's only 500 confirmed cases of it on the island of Ireland, North included.
Right.
That's only 3 deaths. 3 deaths. So. It's not too bad.
Yes, it's not too bad. Is it having an impact with the boys in the gym? Are they?
Yeah, well, there's no training. We're not training at the moment because it's just too risky. Because you're going to be bringing it around your family and stuff like that, and you don't know. So we've just not been training. This week, Paddy was in New York meant to fight. Obviously that got cancelled. I was meant to go over on Sunday, but that didn't happen. Obviously, so. It's just a little bit up in the air. Everyone's just staying home for the moment.
Yeah, that's all we can do. I guess.
Yeah.
So just wanted to obviously have a chat. I know Rob and Ryan were over with you in Ireland last week or the week before, I believe. Doing a few bits, which was great. In terms of the stable just now, so Andy Lee has very much become a trainer of boxers now, where you decided to dip your toe in the water previously. How has it been having more than just Paddy? Obviously you've got Jay over with you now as well. How are you finding that?
Well, it's probably enough for the moment anyway, because obviously I have a young daughter and another kid on the way. So my wife's not really a stay-at-home wife, mother, or that. She has a career herself, so we manage it, and it's manageable now. So with the 2 fighters, I think it's enough. So we train most weekdays. We train Monday to Friday, sometimes Tuesday to Friday, but sometimes Monday to Friday in the mornings, and then I pick my daughter up from creche, and we manage. But it's good having the 2 lads. They're good lads to train. They're dedicated. They're focused, and it's not they do everything I ask them. So there's no real struggle with that.
Yeah, that's great. And in terms of obviously just looking back a little bit further, so your career as a fighter was obviously illustrious. You accomplished capturing world titles, being involved in some excellent fights. How did it feel for you stepping away from that and that gap in between? What was that like for you?
I think I was just burnt out from it by the time, after the Saunders fight. I think I'd had enough of it and needed some time away. I'm not sure if a lot of people realise this, but I fought the Saunders fight with a detached retina.
Oh.
I didn't see, because the fight was cancelled and rescheduled 3 times. My medicals, my eye examination was still in date. But I think I can remember when it happened in the gym. I kind of got a bad, but I didn't take any notice. But it didn't affect me or stop me from sparring or anything. But I noticed when I would run it during the night, when I was running at night, and if I noticed that when I looked to my right, I would get a flash of light into my peripheral vision, and I just didn't want to flag it up, because I knew the fight had been cancelled and rescheduled 3 times, and to do it again, would just been a bit of a disaster. You know what I mean? People buying tickets, buying flights, booking hotels, and so I didn't say nothing about it. fought the fight, didn't think nothing of it. Got home and my wife said, I told my wife, and she said, you better go get that looked at, blah, blah. I thought it was no big deal. I didn't even think it was an issue. Went to the doctors, he had local GP, said, you probably just got a floater. I'll send you up now to my friend, who's an eye specialist. And he looked at it the same day, said, yeah, you've got a detachment in your retina. You're lucky because we just had a cancellation. I can do the surgery right now. So within like 20 minutes, I was getting put under anaesthetic and get my eye reattached, my retina reattached. So that was crazy. But I'm not sure if it affected the fight or the performance. But it was just kind of like the final nail in the coffin that I thought like, oh, I just need a break from this game after all those cancellations and messing around and having to fight in Manchester when it was supposed to be Limerick, the homecoming and all this and that. And so, even though I was kind of forced to take time off because my eye was healing. And then when I came back, I thought I'd have one more. I would kept myself available like towards the end of 2015, and then I had. I think my last fight was 16. Yeah, so I had the last fight in 2016. It was 16 or 17?
17, I think. Was it March?
17, yeah, 17. Yeah. So into 2016, I kept myself active. Then 17, I had my last fight, and I thought if a big fight would have came, I would have took it, or like money that you couldn't turn down, I would have took it. But it was nice to go out and finish on a win in Madison Square Garden on St. Patrick's Day. And then not long after that, my first daughter was born, and then I've kind of had more, I knew that not that the fight was the fight was gone out of me in a way, that I knew that it was time just to. There were other things in life that were taking priority. That boxing was becoming less and less of the main focus. So it's always has been the main. From that year in between the Saunders fight and the Leatherwood fight. I got to do the things that I could never do because I was always training or preparing for a fight. I never know when the next fight's coming, so you have to stay ready. But going to the pub and going on a few holidays and things like that. So I kind of got away from it, a little bit. And then the hunger goes out of you, and obviously, the things that you when something leaves you, something else fills the gap. And my daughter. And so that was it. And to be honest, I don't miss boxing. I don't think I'll. I know I'm never going to fight again. But even as soon as I made the decision to retire, after about a week, I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty much happy now and resolved to never fight again."
Which is it's quite interesting that, because I was talking to Enzo Maccarinelli only last night after he was saying he wants to come back and have that 50th fight. What do you attribute that to? Do you think just the journey that you went on resigned you to knowing that you'd had enough, or?
I think just fulfillment. What am I what am I going to fight for? Unless someone comes along and says, "Andy, we're giving you $4 million or whatever," stupid money that you could say, "Well, look, it's worth it." But otherwise, you're just chasing stuff, and that's not really there anymore because I've won a world title. I'm not a multi-millionaire, but I did all right to set myself up, financially. And what else is there to do? I'm 35 now. What was I then at the time when I retired? 33. Still young enough to fight, but only getting older, younger, stronger, hungrier fighters coming up. And what's it to hang around for? You might want to have a fight, you might want to chase something, but you'd always regret it if you got beat by somebody who, at your best, would never lay a glove on you.
Yeah.
So, I just it was time for me to go, and I'm quite, like I said, I'm content with what I did in the ring, the career I had, traveled the world, lived and trained with the best trainers that you could possibly ask for. So you couldn't get a better career, For me, anyway, not just a career, but it was a journey. It was a career. It wasn't it was an education. A lifetime. So it was good.
Yeah, definitely. And you touched on obviously training in that Kronk gym and training alongside Emanuel Steward. You're quite similar in that respect to Wayne McCulloch. Obviously, was plucked from Northern Ireland and landed with Eddie Futch, another legendary trainer. What was that experience like? So, a guy from a guy from Ireland, landing in the Kronk gym in Detroit. That must have been quite overwhelming and disorientating at the beginning.
No, I wouldn't describe it as that either. Though it was just like I don't know. I was very enthusiastic. It was a dream come true. It was like you said, it was a chance of a lifetime from being from County Limerick, rural Ireland, Castlecommon, County Limerick, and being asked to go to Detroit and train in the Kronk gym with Emanuel Steward, and you'd be like, it was, you're not going to get those chances again, so even though it took time for it to materialise, I knew it was the right thing to do, the right chance to take. And I don't know, I hear about young fighters now saying, they miss being away from home and camp was hard and all this and that. I absolutely loved it. I was in Detroit, I was living with Emanuel Steward, and I was rubbing shoulders on a daily basis with guys who had only grew up reading about him, watching on video. So I never, obviously there were days when you missed home, but it wasn't an overriding thing. Just, you know what I mean? I was living my dream, really. So, no, it was an unbelievable experience. And to be straight away, I was in camp with Klitschko, Jermaine Taylor, and trained regularly with Cameron Cintron was my training partner. And, you're traveling all over the world with Emanuel Steward, and, all the HBO fights, I was ringside while he was commentating and meeting all the guys who would have been, popular at that time, Brera, Pacquiao, Hopkins, De La Hoya, Roy Jones, who was my favourite fighter, and those type of things. It's what more as a young man was living my dream,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Andy, you obviously had a lot of tough fights. You fought a lot of the top guys. You fought a guy who I kind of know a little bit from here, who was also a tough fighter, Craig McEwen. And stopped him in the last round in what was an exciting fight. What was that fight like for you? What can you remember about that?
Yeah, it was a very hard fight. I started off well, and I thought I was just going to go ahead and continue, but he came back into it very strongly and boxed and picked himself up and really boxed well throughout the middle of the fight. And I had to, I was on the way to losing the fight unless I kind of dragged myself out, pulled myself out of it, because the preparation wasn't good for me, wasn't ideal for me. I had a cut in sparring and pretty much didn't do any sparring, but forget all that. You turn up in whatever condition you're in. But I just thought I was going to, I'd beaten him as an amateur, and I thought, I'm going to do it again. And then he had obviously had different ideas and really turned it on in the middle of the rounds. And I knew everything was on the line at that stage, because I had lost previously to Brian Vera. This is my second chance on TV. I'd lost that was my TV debut in America. Then the second chance I get was with McEwen, 3.5, 4 years later, and I'm blowing it again. And all of that was going through my mind during the fight. That contracts, then potential fights, things that were agreed or hinted at, all of those things were going out the window. And also my own self-illusion to another man, which you never want to do. And all of those things were I was dealing with all those things during my mind while the fight was going on, but also dealing with getting beat up as well. But those things were distracting me from the job at hand. Yeah. And then I think it was round 9 or round 8, I just started to walk. I just said clearly in the corner saying to myself, no, I'm not gonna let this happen. And I just changed and never really did it before, but just put my hands up and walk forward and just started taking these shots on the gloves and just trying to bully him, and then eventually wore him down and got him stopped in the last round. But the fight was very close, and I'm sure he thinks about it a lot and how different his life would have been and his career would have been had he could have just hung on that last round, because he probably would have won. But that's boxing, isn't it? At times, fights, the outcome of so much depends on the outcome of a fight. It's not like any other sport, and it's not just a sport, it's a livelihood. And if you win, you move on, you keep progressing, and who knows what it might lead to. But if you lose, it's a major setback. And it takes a big person to come back from a loss, especially a big loss like that on TV, when two young guys, he was undefeated at the time. I had lost to Brian Vera, and he beat Brian Vera in the next fight, so there was a lot on the line, you know what I mean? And I knew I had to. Had I lost that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be living in this house now, so who knows where I'd be,
Yeah. Yes, it's everything's always in the balance in a contest like that. In terms of, so obviously now you're training the guys, and I know you worked with Emanuel Steward obviously very closely. How much do you try and utilise? You're very astute in terms of the way you talk, the way you understand the game, and obviously communicate. You do a lot of media work as well. How much of training fighters is about the man management aspect, understanding them and what makes them tick, as opposed to just purely formulating game plans?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is psychology and knowing what motivates them, and how to inspire them and let them know what's expected of them. And that, I think that was Emanuel's strong point. What he did, obviously, he was on the pads, and his philosophy of boxing was obviously hard to, he was so strong in every aspect in terms of technical technique, teaching pads and training fights. Also as a cornerman, guiding you through a fight, sensing your opponent and reading your opponent during a fight and telling you when to put the foot down or when to ease off and try to box conservatively. But also he spending time with him when he spoke to you, and how he groomed you, what the mindset is and how to impart his philosophy upon his fighters and the confidence he's give his fighters. That was a huge part of his game, and I think it's hard to know because he was such an influence on my life, how much of it you obviously absorb, but I try to, and I always remember, especially with Tyson Fury, because he wanted the Kronk style, and we were with Sugar Hill, always thinking every day, what would Emanuel do now? What would Emanuel do in this situation? How would he handle this? How would he handle that? And he was definitely, his presence was felt during that camp because I was always reminding myself about him and what we used to do. But but that's I would say from my training style and my philosophy would be from Emanuel's styles. But in terms of the technique and things I teach, a lot more now I think is from Adam Booth. In terms of what I learned from him later on in my career, it really was the making of me, because I always had that Kronk stuff. I had it. I could always box. I always had the emphasis on the jab, which was the Kronk thing. But I needed to add things, and Adam added those things. And without Adam's influence, definitely still again, everything happens in life for a reason, and you end up where you are. But all those people along the way played a part,